Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read you a story that is actually from the Chicken Soup for Little Souls collection, and it's called The Best Night Out with Dad. And it is about a father and a son that are going to go to the circus. Now, we don't have, this book is pretty old. It's over 20 years old. There really aren't circuses around much anymore because people felt that it wasn't kind to wild animals to train them and keep them in cages. And so now, if there are any circuses, they don't use wild animals like lions and tigers and elephants. They still use horses and dogs, but anyway, this was back when they had circuses that had wild animals. So I will begin. You mean you've never been to the circus before? Danny asked the big-eyed little kid. The boy reached for his father's hand, looked down, and shook his head no. Danny was sorry he said it like that. The boy's clothes were mended and his sneakers were almost worn through. Maybe his family couldn't ever afford the circus before, Danny thought. Danny was wearing the sweatshirt his dad had bought him the last time they went to the circus. It was his favorite shirt, with a big picture of Thor, the famous circus tiger, on it. That's why the little kid had noticed. That's why he had asked Danny what the circus was like. "What's your name?" Danny asked him. "Vincent," said the boy, smiling again. "Well, Vincent, get ready for the night of your life. The circus has every cool thing you can think of. First, you'll smell the popcorn and hear the big band playing. The ringmaster will come out in a shiny red coat and a top hat. In his boomy voice, he'll say stuff like, 'Welcome, ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages.' Acrobats come tumbling out. They jump and leapfrog and turn somersaults and cartwheels. They spin hoops on their arms and legs. The jugglers toss rings and balls and all kinds of stuff in the air, and everyone parades around in their sparkly costumes. Then the music gets all mysterious. The lights lower almost to darkness. A blue mist creeps in and fills the ring. All of a sudden, two white horses charge out of the darkness, their flowing manes shimmering in the misty fog. They rear up on their hind legs and dance around their trainer. The lights go up and the music gets faster. The horses break into a speedy gallop around the ring, jumping through hoops that get higher and higher. More horses come out with riders on them. The riders do flips off the horses, each one landing on the horse behind her. The lights get low again. The music changes. The spotlight moves up, up, up to the high wire. A woman tiptoes across. She stands on one leg. She does a split on the wire. A man walks out onto the wire too. He does jumps and scissor kicks. He does a backward somersault. "Do they ever fall off?" Vincent urgently whispers. "Oh, sure, that's what makes the circus so dangerous and exciting." Vincent nervously bit his lip. Danny said, "I'm just kidding you, buddy. They almost never fall off. They're real pros." Vincent let out a big breath. "What else? What else?" he begged. "Let's see. There's dogs. Yeah, the dogs do some really cool tricks. And the clowns are awesome. Some walk on stilts so they look about as tall as a house. Others ride super high unicycles or drive these wacky little cars or throw pies at each other. The acrobats are really cool too. They hang from rings and twist their bodies up like pretzels. Then, on the ground, two of them clasp their arms together and toss their brother up into the air. He does somersaults in the air and then comes back and lands on their arms. They throw him up again and he lands on his brother's shoulders. Then they flip themselves up on top of the top guy's shoulders until they're a big human totem pole. And wait till you see the bears in their tutus. The dancing bears will crack you up. Some of them ride motorcycles and do wheelies. What about the elephants? Asked Vincent. He was so wound up he could barely spit the words out. What do the elephants do? Well, they dance ballet, for one thing. They stand up on their hind legs and carry people around in their mouths. The coolest part is when an elephant holds a girl up by his trunk and spins her around really fast. And the trapeze artist, they really fly. One swings across on a trapeze, then lets go. Another one catches her legs and swings her upside down. And then he lets go and she does a somersault in midair. She switches trapezes with a new guy who's just swung in. Then blindfold, and the new guy does a triple somersault. Danny's father bought their tickets and said, "Ready, sport?" "Wait, Dad," said Danny. Then to Vincent, he said, "But that's not even the best. The best, the very coolest act in the circus is Thor. Wait till you see this giant cat in action." Vincent's eyes were as big and round as saucers. "This is going to be the best birthday present I ever got," he yelled. Vincent hopped up and down with excitement as his dad stepped up to the window. The ticket agent shook her head. "I'm sorry, sir. The management doesn't accept this coupon anymore. You'll have to pay full price." Vincent's father stood still. In a small voice, Vincent said, "What's the matter, Dad? Buy the tickets." He doesn't have enough money, Danny thought. His heart sank as Vincent's father closed his wallet and gently pulled Vincent out of the line. Vincent wouldn't see the circus. All of Danny's excitement melted away until he felt like crying. He looked up at his dad and whispered, "What can we do?" Danny's father thought for a moment and then said, "You know, the courts are open late tonight, son. Would you rather see the same old circus again or shoot some hoops instead?" He handed Danny the 2 tickets he had just bought, saying, "It's up to you." Danny understood right away. He thought about the decision his father was letting him make. A warm, good feeling filled Danny up inside, and a smile crept across his face. "I guess I could use some extra practice for Saturday's game," he said. Vincent and his father were already walking away. "Hey, Vincent," Danny called, running to them. Vincent turned around, wiping his nose on his sleeve. "What?" he mumbled. Danny saw the tear streaks on Vincent's face, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. "I really like telling you about the circus, buddy, and I guess I want you to see it more than I want to see it myself. I've got this basketball game, and anyway, my dad and I are going to go to practice. So it turns out we don't need these tickets after all, really." Danny held the tickets out to Vincent. Vincent's face lit up like Christmas. "Can we, Dad?" Vincent's father looked at Danny with eyes full of thanks. Before the man could say anything, Danny pressed the tickets into Vincent's hands and ran back to his own dad. Danny's father knelt down and hugged Danny hard. He said, "You did a very kind and special thing tonight, son. I'm so proud of you." They didn't see the circus, but to Danny, it was the best night out with Dad ever. Now, I love this story because Danny did exactly what God wants us to do when we have those kinds of opportunities to help people. Danny didn't really know Vincent, but he cared about him. He had compassion for him. And there's so many places in the Bible when God talks about us having compassion for others. In Proverbs, which has a lot of good advice, there are a couple scriptures, and one, Proverbs 19:17, says, "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to God." And Proverbs 14:31 says, "Whoever is kind to the needy honors God." And in Matthew, Jesus said, "Whatever you do for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you do for me." And so by helping others who obviously are needy, and Danny's situation was probably one where his father didn't have a whole lot of money. And right now, there are a lot of people in our country whose dads and moms have lost their jobs and they don't have a lot of money either. And so we have opportunities to help them. And there are a lot of different ways you can help. One way is go through your closet and maybe find clothes that you don't need anymore, or shoes you've outgrown, or toys that you don't play with anymore, and you can take them to maybe a neighbor whose dad is out of work, or maybe somebody you don't even know. There are missions that you can take things to. You won't have any trouble figuring it out, especially, and here's something I do, if there's something I want to do for somebody, I'll pray about it. So if you pray and ask, who could I help during this time where things are so hard for others? I know you'll be able to figure it out. And another verse that I really like that is also from Matthew says, "But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." And basically what that means is keep it a secret. Don't even tell your good friends. Just go maybe leave it on somebody's doorstep, and you don't even have to leave a note. It's okay to let them know if you know them, but if you don't, sometimes it's nice to just do something for somebody, and the only person who knows about it is maybe your mom and dad and the Lord. So anyway, this week I want you to think about what you could do to help those people who may be in need of a little help. And next week, I'm going to read you another one of these stories, and this is going to be about a birthday party. And I'm going to have some suggestions of things you can do when people are having birthdays right now, some things I've seen. And, or maybe even something you could do for Mother's Day that's coming up. So I'll see you next week, boys and girls. Bye.